de aquí al lado mío y estamos. You guys ready? All right, good morning, folks. Welcome to Tallahassee in the Capitol, of course, opening day session. Today is a very special day, and thank you guys for being here. The reason that we are here today is several months ago, Speaker Corcoran had invited the Speaker of the House of Puerto Rico to join us for open day session, and also some of the members of the Puerto Rico House of Representatives. I'm happy to say that the Speaker did accept the invitation, and so did some of the members. And joining us here today is one of the representatives, Representative Eddie Charbonnier, from House District 1, which is the San Juan District, the old San Juan and Condado District, one of the hardest hits area also in Puerto Rico for Hurricane Maria. So unfortunately, the speaker last night was at the San Juan airport. American flight got delayed. They missed their connection to Tallahassee. Two members are sitting in Charlotte waiting to get here. The speaker decided not to come because he has to go to Washington today. So kind of the flight delayed messed up his schedule. So unfortunately, he wanted to extend the thanks to Speaker Corcoran, but he cannot make it. His staff assistant is here with us. Representative Charbonnier is here with us. And we have two representatives that are also on the way, and they will be here right before session starts, flying in from Charlotte. So it's important why we did this. And we did this because obviously Florida and Puerto Rico share and have a lot in common. And not only do we have a large Puerto Rican population that has lived here in the past, we've seen the increase from Hurricane Maria. And also, it's important that we understand that Florida is the hub of activity for Puerto Rico in the rebuilding process. Governor Scott has been upfront in his commitment to helping Puerto Rico rebuild and welcoming those that came from Puerto Rico to Florida and try to start their lives over here in this continuous process. So here we are almost 130 days after the storm hit. We're getting ready to start session. What I understand, this has never happened, where we have had members of the Puerto Rico House joining members of the Florida House of Representatives in opening day session. And on a side note, Puerto Rico's session started yesterday. So we are running concurrently their session and our session as we move forward. So with that, I'll put Representative Charbonnier for a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. As Bob says, we are here as an invitation of Speaker Corcoran and Mr. Cortes. They have been a lot of help for Puerto Rico before the hurricane, after the hurricane, and during the process. They have helped Puerto Rico during the process of sending goods to our people, expediting the process of shipping the goods from here, from Florida to Puerto Rico. And also, Bob represents a lot of the Puerto Rican population here in Central Florida. And our speaker, he was coming today, like Bob said before, he has some issues with the plane. And we have a lot of communication between both houses, and we are very thankful for what the governor has done for Puerto Rico. He has sent police officer, emergency personnel, firefighters, and he was also meeting with our governor in order to make the recovery effort of Puerto Rico. Right now, almost 40% of the population is still without power. But even though we have a lot of help from a lot of power, electric power utilities from Florida that has helped Puerto Rico, and we are very thankful for what Bob and Speaker Corcoran and Governor Scott have done for Puerto Rico.
And on the side note, the continuing communication that we're having is that on the side of the power, Representative Charbonnier and others, we're talking to see what else can Florida do to help speed up and get that other 40% of those without power back on. And some of the limitations and issues that they're having that we're finding out is supplies. It's not manpower. They've got plenty of people working on the ground, but it's getting the supplies from the United States to Puerto Rico so they can install them and repair the grid. So we're trying to find out whether it's a delay in manufacturing and transportation at our ports or anything in Florida that we can do to make sure that we speed up. So these are continuing communications that we're having with the folks in Puerto Rico. Last night, I spoke with Secretary Kelleher from Puerto Rico, Secretary of Education, another partnership that we forged between Florida and Puerto Rico. Last week, Commissioner Stewart rolled out something we have been working out since October, where the seniors will be able to graduate in Florida with Puerto Rico diplomas. Last night, Secretary Kelleher informed me that the schools are back open in Puerto Rico and they're operating and things are starting to get back to normal. So, all these things are constant communications that we continue to have with our folks in Puerto Rico, and Florida's commitment to make sure that we help our folks in Puerto Rico, not only the ones that have come here, which have already, the numbers have eclipsed over 300,000, but the ones that do want to return back, and even the ones that are living on the island, and with the hopes that everything will get back to normal, and then praying that after June 30th in the next hurricane season, that they're good. The hurricane season is not bad to both Florida and Puerto Rico. And with that, if you have any questions for the representative, I'd be more than happy to bring them up and answer.
If you just tell us what it's like in San Juan and perhaps elsewhere on the...
That's his district. I'll let him share.
My district, which is Old San Juan, Condado, Miramar, Santurce, which is the capital, where the Capitol Hill is and all that stuff. I have like 80% of my area already have electricity, but I have some areas that are like 5 minutes away from the government mansion. We still have power, but all the recovery effort has been very work. The schools are working. Actually, schools started yesterday. 50% of the schools are on the island doesn't have power, but we need to move on. And one of the biggest issues that we're having right now is a lot of our people going out to the States and moving out of Puerto Rico. But the government is working very hard in order to recover the energy, which is the main issue.
What about immediately afterwards? There was a lot of talk about medicines, especially for older people, and what's the health situation like at hospitals and just perhaps out in the country?
Hospital, they're working from the first day. One of the priority of our governor, Ricardo Rosselló, was working on the hospital. We also have people from the U.S. Navy. We have the USS Comfort as well. They park and also in one, and they attend all the people that need help, especially on the health issue. But we have another big issue that has nothing to do with the hurricane. Now that you're talking about health, it's about health care, Medicare, for example. As you may know, Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. We're not a state. So we are U.S. citizens, but we cannot vote for the president. We don't have a delegation in Congress. So when we receive the funding for Medicare, the states, they do have their money based on income. Puerto Rico have it by formula as a Virgin Island, so we only get 50% at best with a cap. And that's one of the issues that our Speaker Mendez and the governor are now in D.C. working with congressmen, and also Bob is calling our colleagues here, like Marco Rubio in the Senate and all the congressmen, because it is having a big issue in our health care system in Puerto Rico.
And then for long-term recovery of Puerto Rico, how important is it to have at least some of the people who have come to Florida or elsewhere in the United States, the rest of the actual states, I guess, return? And what do you anticipate the Puerto Rican government doing to try and get people to?
Right now, the governor has met with Governor Scott. We have the population right now is 3.1. We used to have 3.4, but people were getting out of Puerto Rico before the hurricane. And one of the things, because the discrimination that we have as U.S. citizens living in Puerto Rico, like I said before, in the health, which is for me one of the most important. We also have that issue on education, and people want to have a better life. And we as U.S. citizens, we think that we deserve the same rights. And the hurricane, one of the good things between the bad that happened with the hurricane is that we were put back in the map. And on the national level, all the people know that Puerto Rican are U.S. citizens, and we deserve the same right that the other citizens that live in the States. That's one of the biggest issues right now. And if we don't get the same rights than the state, people are going to start going out of Puerto Rico. We want to have that in our island. Like I said before, for example, health is one of the priority topics, and also education. And right now, the governor is in D.C. working on that.
And House Memorial 147 that I have in the House does address some of those inequalities that we're talking about, he's talking about. Because Puerto Rico is considered an unincorporated territory, it does have certain limitations, not just for the folks living in Puerto Rico, but for any U.S. citizen that does want to domicile in Puerto Rico. And he just mentioned some of the issues that even before the storm, we were having a large migration of Puerto Ricans leaving the island, coming to places like Florida. Florida because they figured that by just taking a plane ride to someplace in the States, they can vote for their president. They can have full benefits that they were not enjoying in Puerto Rico. So those were the things that already had triggered a mass migration. Of course, the storm exacerbated that migration. I'll do say this, though, and this is, we've seen some of this already happening. A lot of those that already came here will be going back. When? Maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. This always happens, and we saw it happen in Katrina. Now, Katrina, you can see that the levels of population in Katrina are almost back to where it were pre the storm. So there will be always a migration back. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the island is a beautiful island. I grew up there. Sometimes I wish I can go back and live. I mean, I made Florida my home, but Puerto Rico's home to many and will always be home. So those that are living here temporarily looking for opportunities, one day they'll say, you know, I love living back in Puerto Rico and I'm going to go back.
Representative Cortes, what are the prospects? I mean, I know you have bills and ideas, but how important is it to get the full complement of affordable housing money in the trust fund dedicated to building homes now? And can any of that be targeted in Central Florida? I know the Keys has been talked about because of what happened with Irma, but
Yes, that's a great point. Great, yes. The answer to the short answer is the funding for the affordable housing we're including in House Bill 987. But one of the things that we spoke with some of the folks that build affordable housing, they're saying money is not at all. They're saying that tax credits are actually even better than using some of the Sadowski funds. So we're talking to our partners in the federal government, Marco Rubio and our Bill Nelson and others, to see if they can make sure, because there is a way to redirect some of the tax credits to region areas like Central Florida, like Osceola and Orange County specific, through the federal government. And that's one of the things that we've listened to, some of the things that they've told us, and try to redirect that. So we can make a combination of what we're doing on the state level, what the locals are doing on the local level, and of course what the feds will do on the fed level.
and of course we're talking about a budget that will start with the next fiscal year. But you know, I think last time we had one of these press conferences right after the hurricane, you stressed how urgent it was, and people would start to live with their families a little bit and then have to leave. I mean, how critical is the situation right now?
On the what?
On affordable housing.
Well, we had a shortage on affordable housing even before the storm came. This is something that the whole region has been experiencing, and we have not been able to keep up. Over 75% of what's being built today in most of the urban areas is luxury type housing, either middle or luxury, which is not addressing the affordable. It is addressing some of the housing needs, but not the affordable housing needs. So what we believe is going to happen, we believe that our areas are going to grow. Areas like Osceola to the east and to the south. We're talking areas in Lake County, Polk County that do have available land that is suitable for affordable housing. And if we can put together a good package with the recommendations of the task force, then I think we can get it done. All right. All right. For those, I know Telemundo Univision are getting here. We'll do another one for you guys. And we can do it in Spanish also, so that we can cover both areas. But any other questions? Questions for the representative? Again, I think it's important to show the commitment of Speaker Corcoran to the folks of Puerto Rico, the commitment of Florida, our legislature, and the governor. The fact that he invited the Speaker of the House of Puerto Rico. I know Governor Scott had invited Governor Rosselló also to join us for the State of the State. Unfortunately, Governor Rosselló does have a packed schedule, and his schedule will not allow it to be him. I think he's going to be in Kissimmee on Friday and to talk about some of these things. So we will start our session today, and we will work on everything, both in Florida and considering in mind that Puerto Rico and what happened in Maria is having an impact on Florida, and we will make sure that we have those discussions too. All right?
Thank you. Okay.
Right. Thank you. Oman, lo vamos a hacer ahora algo en español. Estoy esperando a de Univision. Que venía por ahí. Please.